This is Sylvia Koh of CrimsonLogic, and this is my episode of LinkedIn Talent Streams. The thing about learning is that it has to really come from within. It has to be something that's really motivated from inside out. In our organization today at CrimsonLogic, we aspire to build that learning culture. And when we say learning culture, it's really not so much about just going into learning for the sake of it, but really understanding what is that purpose of the organization and how we should steer the learning towards. And to us at CrimsonLogic, every person is precious to us. And so when we look at our colleague, we want to build our colleagues up, not just for CrimsonLogic, but really to build their career in IT, starting with us. So we could be one of the stops, and we want to continue to invest in our colleagues so that they can be employable into the future. So with the COVID around, we have focused a lot more on e-learning. People have more empowerment to do their learning. You don't have to wait for a class to happen. And the 10% of classroom learning, I would say, has stretched into maybe about 20 to 30% and into the space of coaching as well, because that's e-enabled learning has come into play. And with bite-sized learning, that's like offered by LinkedIn or companies like Udemy and so on, it's 10-15 minutes of bite-sized learning, and you can really expand on that. We endeavor to build an environment of learning through regular exchange and dialogue. We hold this quarterly learning festivals for our people. They could be in the form of an innovation festival, which we are going through this year with 4 cycles of it, and we use extensively a platform whereby our colleagues can drop in new ideas, and these could be new ideas pertaining to learning, technology, or just anything at all. And we really live by these engagement events that we have. And in the past, we've had learning festivals, coined as a mission possible, when we first launched our CrimsonLogic values, our core values, which also includes the attitude of learning as well. And through that, we've engaged hundreds of people at one go, face to face at that point in time. And of course, now with the pandemic, it has not really stopped us. So that culture of wanting to help our people to learn is truly quite unstoppable. So despite it all, we have done this through Teams, through Zoom, where we bring people together into the festivals. Certainly, digital is here to stay. This is like the present future. And we will be involving our learning culture more and more with digitalization. And we would say that alongside this would be still important skills, soft skills like critical thinking that needs to come into play. So while we move digital, the more we move digital, the more we need to focus on the human side of things. Yeah, so that would be the critical analysis and thinking, problem-solving skills, being able to get along, being able to support one another, receiving of feedback and acting on feedback, and just collaborating as a team. So for the peer-to-peer, much of the time what we do is, we form little centers of learning, and that's driven by the Project Excellence Group as well. And on top of it, we do also have what we call Crimson Exchange that we do twice a year, whereby we get our technical teams, our project teams together. And what do we learn? We actually share our failures at these sessions so that we can learn from it. And jointly in our small groups, we can really brainstorm and curate some new ideas as to how we can prevent some of these hiccups in the projects. I would think that anything that is just top driven will not make a learning culture effective. It's just more like the leader will tell the person what exactly to be trained and it's all just about the business. If we were to go that way, there will not be any buy-in from the people, and therefore it won't be effective. And the other thing is, of course, to have an effective learning culture, it's really being generous on the time and giving the colleagues time to do the learning, and sometimes even time and space to do some form of reflection so that they can really see how they can learn from a specific project and reflect on it and think about what can be done better. I think the important thing is to listen, to keep giving them the avenues to present their feedback, and to genuinely, authentically listen to the colleagues' feedback and to act on it. So this will be a really good way. I mean, it's basic, but giving them avenues to give their points of view, to provide their recommendations, and always refining, finessing the process as we go along because we listen. So we always have this term that says, let's really work on inside out. Because when the inside is good, then we are really authentic and the people will just speak for the brand itself. Very importantly is that we need to look at our people first when it comes to any new roles and internal talent before we look at external talent. So an example is that, for our fresh graduates that we hire each year, about 15 to 20 of them, we ensure that we invest, enough time as well as efforts into them. And if I look at the cohort that we have, around about 30 to 40%, within the short time of say 2 to 3 years, they would be in a team leadership role. Basically, wherever the person is in their life, to be really curious and to yearn to learn. And it could be any aspects. It could be related to work or perhaps not at all. So therefore, as a company, what we would like to do is to help our colleagues to embark on this lifelong journey. Yes, a day at a time, and giving them the foundational support to enable them to not only to do today's job, but also for tomorrow.